Welcome back again. Greetings to each one of you in the precious name of Jesus Christ. Once again, let us read our text from the book of Genesis, first chapter. As we proceed further, let us read from the 9th verse. And God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered into one place, and let dry ground appear." And God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear." And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. This is let me also read out for you the 11th verse. Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees on the land that bear fruit and seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds." And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning the third day. My dear brothers and sisters, here we are reading about the creation on the third day. What God did on the third day is He is creating vegetation, plant life. He created plants before He created animals. The Lord created plants before He created animals. Before He created anything else. The Lord created trees and plants and vegetation before He created the human race. You know why? Plants are meant to be our food. Originally, in the first place, before the fall, before Adam and Eve fell in sin, they were vegetarians. Adam and Eve had their food from vegetation. And naturally, all the animals, all the beasts, everything, every animal had their food from plant life. All the living creatures, animals, birds, and men and women, they were living on the vegetarian food. That's the reason God created a home in the first place, and then He prepared food in the second place, and then God began to create these moving, intelligent, or maybe conscious living creatures. Trees are also living, but they cannot have emotions. They do not have emotions. They can't express their emotions. Trees don't speak. They are not really suffering any pain when you cut them. There's no bleeding. There's no screaming with pain. Nothing like that. If you kill a goat or any animal, any human being, there's much bleeding, pain, suffering, torture. There is much screaming with pain. But all this is not there when you cut a plant. Plant has life in it, but no emotions like joy, like hunger, and agony, pain, and the expression of those emotions. But animals and fish, they are more conscious more conscious than plants. Plants are alive too, they have life in them. But they are not very conscious about their own selves. They are not conscious about their needs. An animal knows its needs. An animal knows that it needs food, it needs water. Animal can walk, move and go to the water pond, water reservoir, the lake or river. Animal feels thirsty and goes to the water. An animal feels hungry and hunts for its food. It searches for the food and finds the food and eats it. But not so with the tree. Tree is not hungry, and if it is hungry, it will not move about, go around in the jungle, in the wilderness to look for its food. Nature gives its food naturally. Plants survive by sun rays. They produce their own food. We call it photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process. In botany, you read that word. Plants take the sun rays and create their own food, their own energy. Plants are surviving by sun rays and they breathe oxygen. They take carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. They breathe air. Plants need life and they need air also. Plants cannot survive where there is no air in the space. Plants need air to breathe, but ironically they breathe, they retain, they contain the carbon dioxide. Then giving out oxygen, they help the other living creatures. That is a special quality of a plant. Plant is alive, needs food, needs water, needs warmth, but it cannot go anywhere. It is not supplied with sun or with water. It will die simply. It will die painlessly. But not so with an animal. Plants are alive, animals are also alive, but more conscious. Animals are more conscious than the plant. Of course, there may be exceptions for every rule. I know what some of you are thinking. There are some man-eaters among the trees. Trees, this is a very ironical situation. We talk about vegetarian food and non-vegetarian food. But there are some plants which are non-vegetarians. In the jungles, in the forests, we have in the deep forests of Africa, we find some trees which eat the animals or human beings who come their way. All the branches of the tree come and embrace that living animal or human being, that creature, and then suck the blood and eat the muscles and leave just a skeleton. They leave just a skeleton. All the muscles, all the flesh on the body, all the blood, all the nerves, they are digested by the tree. So you have some non-vegetarian trees also, non-vegetarian plants also. That is an exceptional thing in the creation, a wonder of God's creation, to show us what He can do, what He can make. But leaving them as an exception, we have plants which are not really very conscious about their existence and their needs, then animals which are conscious about their needs and existence. A mosquito comes, a fly, common fly comes, and it will land on the tree. The tree doesn't do anything about it. But an animal tries to drive it away because it feels the touch, the irritation by that touch. That is the way God created different stages of life. First plant life, then animal life, then humanity, human beings, mankind. So before He created animals, before He created the human beings, mankind, God wanted to create plants because they are the living creatures which will voluntarily become food for other living creatures. See the beauty of God's plan, the beauty of God's creation. What a wonderful God we have. Before making any conscious creatures, before human beings and before the animals, before fish, God made a home for them, and then in the home God made some food for them. Then God began to create other animals and other living creatures which are conscious about their existence and needs. So this happened on the third day. Before closing this sermon, this message rather, not a big sermon, before closing this short message, I want to point out one thing. These days need not be necessarily a 24-hour period. These days need not be necessarily days of 24 hours. It can be any length of time because sun was not yet created during the first 3 days. If those days have to be 24-hour period, 24-hour length and span of time, then earth should be orbiting around the sun and spinning around itself. When the earth is spinning around itself and orbiting around the sun, we can count the days and the years. The time the earth takes to spin around itself once is 24 hours. And the time the earth takes to go around the sun is 365 days. As the earth is revolving or spinning around itself 365 times, within that time the earth will finish one circle, one orbit around the sun. That's the way we count the time in our present world. But when there is no sun, when there is no counting of time by virtue of days and nights happening because of the sunrise and sunset, how can we count days? How can you say it was the first day, it was the second day, it was the third day? As many other scholars and scientists and Christian teachers, leaders have said, in all probability, I'm not dogmatizing on that. I'm not insisting that this is only the right interpretation. This is one of the possible interpretations, that those days in the first chapter of Genesis could be dispensations, not necessarily 24 hours of span of time, but there could be dispensations or ages stretching into some thousands of years, or even there could be hundreds of thousands of years. So that is the length of the time the earth has been existing. The Bible nowhere tells us that the earth is 6,000 years old. That is a wrong notion, misconception. The Bible actually tells us that the earth had a very long existence before Adam and Eve were created. So the first day could be measuring almost few hundreds of thousands of years, and the second day also could be a few more hundreds of thousands of years, and the third day also could be hundreds of thousands of years long. This is very important for us to notice, because according to the study made by Charles Darwin and other scientists to support their theory of evolution, they say the first form of life to appear on this planet is plant life. We have fossils, as I mentioned earlier, as I quoted earlier. There are fossils. Fossils are the fossils are the remains of the bodies of the living creatures of the ancient time. They were dead, buried into the earth, then they were preserved, and they were preserved in the lower layers of earth. We call them strata. One layer is a stratum. We call them geological stratum. So there are many geological strata, many geological layers in the earth, and in the lowermost layer we have the fossils of plants. And when you come to the upper portion, upper layers of the earth, you have the fossils of the fish, skeletons of fish, then birds, then animals.